Hey guys, I'm Jacob. You're watching the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. We're here with Robert Cabrera, Philo Blade Works. I wanted to take an opportunity to pick his brain and talk about a tactical knife, maybe a tactical, maybe a combative, maybe a self-defense knife, however you're going to define that. The market has done a lot of weird stuff with tactical knives, and Rob knows a thing or two, so I wanted to pick his brain for you and get him to tell you kind of what he looks for in a knife of this type, what his design philosophy is, and maybe if you are looking for your first knife that falls into this category, maybe what you might look for. First off, check out Philo Blade Works first, of course, if you're looking for a
shameless plug.
Yeah, but so when you're designing a knife of this category, what are you looking at, and what are you avoiding too?
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
appreciate you guys. Thank you. Well, I break design down to a couple things. It's either a combat utility, EDC, self-defense, breaching, or bushcraft. Mm-hmm. It's going to fall into one of those 5 categories. Some of the categories overlap, like EDC could run into several of them, probably with the exception of bushcraft and breaching. Okay, it'd be kind of hard to EDC a breacher.
Yeah.
But probably the biggest thing you want to focus on is when you're thinking of self-defense, you want to be thinking about deployability, concealability, not wanting anything too big, where we have a tendency, like a lot of people fall in love with the idea of a combat utility in the sense of either a Sykes-Fairburn, a K-bar, fill-in combat utility here.
Right.
Most people don't realize that a combat utility is rather large because you got to do a lot with it. You know, that's what those guys had to do a lot with them. I mean, they were opening cans, they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff with them. So the idea of a combat knife, technically, you know, I'm not big on the vernacular, you know, but this idea of a combat utility or a combat knife or a tactical knife in the way of using for combat, technically anything should work, but there are some criteria that I do like to work within. One of the things that I really like is I really pay a little bit of attention to tip symmetry. And we just got to having a conversation about that. Like this guy right here, this is my Outlaw that I designed for Clint Emerson. You know, we had talked about this before, the swedging. Now, I like swedging spear points because the way the spine moves when you create a spear point. So I like swedging again to generate that cross section, to minimize the cross section. But again, like you said, if somebody's amped up, anything's going to stick. A, it makes it look sexy, and then B, it does it decreases that cross section, you know, for better penetration.
Well, for everyday carry use, it's nice to have a swedge if you get a little bit finer tip. If you've got to, say, pull the splinter out, cut something out of your own skin, or do some fine work, it is nice to have, you know, a fine tip for things other than sticking into meat as well.
Yeah, but and again, let's talk about the cons. The moment you swedge the spine, you're making it weaker. So people who like to pry with stuff like this, you're going to be severely disappointed because it's not meant to do that. The tip symmetry is not set up in a way that it's good for prying. Chances are this thing, if you got real crazy with it, is probably going to break off about a 1/4 inch above that plunge line, and you're going to be done. It's all over with. And again, it's not the blade's fault. Heck, it's not even my fault. I did not design it to do that, to pry with. Where, let's just talk about this headstrong, where I don't swedge it. I don't swedge this knife on purpose because I know the people that are going to be using this are going to be picking, digging, prying. They're going to be doing all kinds of stuff with it. So I like, even though it's a drop point, I like to keep that spine symmetry going all the way out for that reason, to make it stronger in case you got to do something else with it. So in the way of tip symmetry, I still like, as you can tell with this one, I still like to keep it nice and sharp.
Let me hold that up for the camera again here. See what he's talking about, and Again, that nice usable tip. A lot of people wouldn't consider this knife to be tactical or anything else. However, it's tactical can mean a lot of different things,
Yep.
but if you're talking about a combative situation, most people would call it a self-defense situation with a blade. The look of the knife probably isn't going to be what saves you at the end of the day. Kind of like that meme where a dude's dead lying down on the mountain, and there's
Yep.
two guys looking at him, and they're like, man, that's not a very thick jacket. And the other guy's like, but dang, it does look good though.
Yeah, it does.
Right? You know,
Yep. Functionality versus the aesthetics.
yeah.
You know, like this guy here, you know, in the reverse grip, you'll notice that I've still got plenty of what we refer to as pommel or puño here. That's because if I hold it like this, I can still strike with it.
Yeah.
Not only that, if I do hold it in a reverse grip, I've still got the manipulation ability in this grip. In the forward grip, it's got a real nice solid purchase on it. I've got the jimping right where it needs to be at. You got the dive in this position where this first scallop is, with a secondary scallop just in case you do have to penetrate. It's not going to want to slide back on you. So there's a lot of things you want to think of in the way of developing. For one, I like a secondary scallop. Just because of the purchase that you get with that index finger. I've done some stabbing tests where you're hitting a solid board and you'll feel the blade want to come out of a rest.
Yeah.
Where it wants to slide back. Where I've noticed where it's got this secondary scallop here, that purchase is really solid. Now you'll feel it move.
Right.
You'll feel it bump in the arrested position, but then your body maintains the purchase. Your hand maintains the purchase of the blade. So again, a lot of thought can go into the designing, but the biggest thing is understanding what it takes to protect yourself and have an understanding of that type of combat.
Right.
So that when you're designing, you understand, okay, if I'm in a reverse or ice pick, what are my abilities in an ice pick? What can I do with it? Understanding, manipulating, understanding how to stab from that positioning helps you. Because if you'll notice when you hold it, I've got almost a 90-degree angle to here. That's for downward striking. Also, the rotation, I've got enough of an opening here and here that I can capture and move. So there's a lot that goes into it, and if you've got a little bit of training, it helps.
So one thing that I've noticed here is most people would automatically assume the knife with the swedge is more tactical, but you've got two tactical knives that were designed with a little bit different purpose.
Yep.
And that's really important, I think, is knowing how you're going to use the knife. How you use the knife every day might make which one you choose a more important decision
Yep.
than what you think you might use it as in a tactical situation.
Yeah, like check this one out. So here's everybody's favorite. This is a ring blade, right? Well, do I like ring blades? Do I make a lot of ring blades? Yeah. But what most people don't realize let's just go ahead from tactics. Got to put my finger in this hole under duress. It's a very difficult thing to do. Do I love the concept of this purchase and this, being able to retain this? Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
But it's this idea of deploying. I've got to get my hand into this hole in a hurry.
Right.
That takes practice, and most people aren't interested in training that much. Does this have the upper swedge? Yes. It's got this real, this real harpoonish kind of look to it. Really mean, but is this something that you'd want to carry as an EDC everyday carry? I don't know. I mean,
Depends on you and what you like to carry.
yeah.
So,
Against carrying something like this,
right.
you know.
This is
I love this.
This is a unique EDC flavor. Usually when I show this off in my pocket dumps, I'm wearing my pants with my big pockets.
This is cool.
So this is my gunslinger prototype.
It's like a modded buoy.
Yeah, so essentially what happened was we had the Super Kook, a kukri that I designed that was very popular, very forward heavy, and a great woods processing tool. But I wanted to know if I could get a lot of the power from the kukri angle in a blade that was lighter weight and faster and had more penetrating capability. So I worked quite a while on essentially putting a Bowie blade, an edge geo, onto the Super Kook handle and kind of matching the dimensions and stuff like that. And it's a lot faster. And as you guys probably saw recently, it still has some serious chopping power.
It's got a really nice, for a blade, here, hold this one. So for a blade that size, you did the testing
Yep.
of this one. Yeah, that one. Wow. Really, really similar. Weight-wise. Really
Yeah.
close. Yeah,
Yeah.
extremely close. It's weird because this has got a completely different purchase to it. This seems like, this one feels like you could spend more time hacking with it than you could with this one.
Well, so, and for anybody that doesn't know, this is a rescue blade, right?
I guess you could call it that. This was really more of a crachetti is what we affectionately call it, you know. It's based on a Filipino design called a Penswali. Forward, very forward heavy. But I didn't take, when I designed this one, I didn't take hours of chopping into consideration.
Well, and few people do, and it's something that my design language I did because although not many people take a knife like this and use it for hours, I do. And I, with the Woods specific design of it, that's one thing that was important to
Definitely
me.
a lot more comfortable on your hands long term. I like the way that you can choke up on it and go from one position to the other and still have really, really, really positive purchase on it.
Now, if you were wearing thick gloves, though, your
Yeah,
knife
that one
would be a lot more secure.
What I
A
noticed
lot
about that one is that what I noticed when you were cutting was that that one has a tendency to blow a lot of really big chunks out
Yeah.
when you hit it. I don't know if it's because of the way it's shaped, but that one I saw when you would hit, really large pieces would come off.
Yeah.
So although you may not be able to hit for long, maybe you'll make quick work of it. I don't know, but this one here, like, I think where you've hit it out of the park on this one is this handle design. This is extremely unique. I'm looking at this saying, you could put 3 or 4 different blade types just on this handle layout.
Yeah.
This handle design is really unique. So as far as handle design goes, from a designer's point of view, you've done really well with this handle design. I mean, like I said, basically you put a buoy on it,
Right.
but you could put anything on here, and it's not really going to matter.
Yeah, I actually, at one point as a joke, we put a large Nesmuck blade on it, in a drawing, of course, but I called it the Death Muck.
Okay.
Would have been interesting to have a Death
Yeah,
Muck
like I said,
blade.
you got a winner with that handle.
So,
That handle's a winner, absolutely.
but that might not be fully a tactical knife, but it is more tactical than the kukri that it was based on, and I wouldn't want someone to be close to me and swinging it at me. So
No, it made good work of that skull.
yeah, it did.
I would not want to be on the receiving end of that.
No.
But it's a good build. You guys should be asking more questions about it.
Well, hey Rob, I appreciate you
No
going
problem,
a little bit into your designs. Again, Philo Blade Works. I've been starting to work with Rob on knife manipulation and movement and stuff like that. There's a lot to it that I didn't consider, and his designs have a lot of reason behind them and actual experience. And I don't like to paint a broad picture, but I would say a lot of people out there making tactical knives probably don't have that background to put in the designs. So vet your sources and vet your designers.
Yeah, I have the blessing of some past experience, and a completely different perspective than, say, a military guy.
Right.
But also I'm blessed to have a circle of guys who have seen combat. So I can create things and bounce them off of these guys and say, hey, from a perspective of combat, where do you feel I'm at?
Right.
You know, there's a lot of people don't realize that, you know, there's a lot of designers out there that have never served time in the military in combat, but who are amazing. Bill Harsey is probably one of the, to me, Bill Harsey's the pinnacle of combat designers. He is the point, literally. And he's got literally hundreds of guys in field right now carrying his stuff. I mean, I'm blessed to have a few. I got a couple of guys out there that are carrying my stuff, and I'm very happy and blessed for that. But I think I don't want to be so bold as to say that, you know, I'm the only guy who's doing it or whatever. There's
Right.
a lot of really good designers out there who haven't. To me, it's the backstopping. Who are they? You know, you can learn a lot about a person by the people they're running with. I've been blessed enough to have some really, really cool guys and different people that I've been allowed to bounce stuff off of. So, yeah.
Well, the fact that you want to bounce stuff off of people is important, because somebody might be incredibly talented, may even be able to be labeled as an expert or a master, but they can miss things in their design that might have been easily correctable, but they're too proud to have asked someone else's opinions.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of different people. There's a lot of different ways to use knives.
Yep.
And you know, it's good to see a good balance.
Yeah,
Science.
I think that's one thing, especially. I know you just got done doing a piece on custom knife, where your custom knife fails and all that.
Yeah.
Which was really good. I like that, especially the way you're talking about communicating
With the maker.
with the maker. Things happen. You know, that's just the way it is. You know, or you maybe you push it a little too far.
Yep.
I think the biggest thing is be cool. Level of transparency. You know, just, hey man, I think I may have pushed it a little too far or whatever. And a lot of times these guys are they're really more interested in making sure that you're okay. You
Right.
know? So. Yeah.
As a side note, when I used to be involved in another knife brand personally, we had a customer who said that his knife had warped. Whether it did or not, I don't know. But we were working with him with what I thought was, you know, fair. We were gonna make him another knife and stuff, and he started making demands, saying how quickly he needed the new knife, and started saying like he's gonna come to our houses and kill our families and stuff like that. And it's like, what do you think? Just be
cool. Yeah, just be cool. I mean, just be cool. There's no reason not to be cool, you know.
You know, you're the guy who made your knife probably wants you to be happy with it, and probably wants to make things right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you talk about these custom shops, guys, it's not like there's just another one sitting there on the shelf all the
No.
time waiting for you. They got to make it again.
Yep.
So, you know, trust your maker, reach out to them, and hopefully they'll make attempts to make things right with you. And, you know, if they do treat you really badly, then, you know, go from there, but reach out to them first.
It is a free market too.
Yeah, you can buy from someone else.
So buy from somebody else. And I'll be honest with you, you know, another thing too, there's a right way and a wrong way to transmit a message. And remember, some of these guys, some of them are making a living doing it. And some of them there's really no reason to just get wild about it. So, you know, and again, most of them, a lot of them, if anything, even if you don't get your knife back or another knife, you get a refund. A lot of them will refund you if they don't feel like they can fit the time criteria. They'll refund you. And if that's the case, then you go and find another maker. I mean, it's that simple. You know?
Yep.
So, anyways, yeah, that's my outlook on it.
There we go. Well, thanks again for being on here. Again, check out Philo Blade Works. We're going to put a link to them in the description box below, so you can.
Yep, on Instagram, on Facebook, on got a website too.
Good deal. Thanks for watching again, and I hope that you have a blessed day. I'll talk to you in the comment section below.